This is beautiful. This is just great. Caitlin Clark officially overtakes A'ja Wilson in the MVP race. That's right. You heard it. Caitlin Clark is number one on the MVP board as the Las Vegas Aces have started to falter a little bit. They have dropped in the standings, which means Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever now have a better record than the Las Vegas Aces, and the stats are already comparable. So winning should matter. Olivia Miles, your stats just aren't good enough to compete with Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson's.
The MVP race just imploded on national television. A'ja Wilson sat in stunned silence as the latest standings flashed across the screen, in a move nobody in the Las Vegas front office saw coming. Caitlin Clark officially surged past the reigning superstar on the official MVP leaderboard. The balance of power in women's basketball shattered in a single night. Vegas had slipped. Indiana had climbed. And the narrative that A'ja had this trophy locked away dissolved instantly.
Caitlin Clark. Take a look at this here. Big numbers, big momentum. The most watched game on Ion TV ever for the WNBA. Okay? 2.2 peak audience record viewership. Take a look at this here. This was Paige Bueckers versus Caitlin Clark. Okay, it averaged 1.62 million viewers and it peaked at 2.2, the most ever for Ion in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark is literally the face of women's sports. She drives ratings like no one else is doing, and it's
looked directly at the raw numbers that left executives scrambling. Broadcast records across the sports landscape fell apart when Caitlin went head-to-head with Paige Bueckers on ION television. That single showdown pulled an unprecedented average of 1.62 million viewers, ultimately peaking at an eye-popping 2.2 million. It registered as the most watched WNBA broadcast in ION network history. Clark did not just draw a crowd. She completely transformed a network's baseline metrics overnight.
Caitlin Clark is literally the face of women's sports. She drives ratings like no one else is doing, and it's clear and obvious that she's the face of the WNBA, and now it's becoming even more clear and evident that she is taking over the WNBA MVP race over A'ja Wilson. Take a look at this here. The Indiana Fever have officially passed up the Las Vegas Aces in the WNBA standings. And if this thing continues, Caitlin Clark is going to be looking that MVP trophy square in.
Those historic viewership metrics sent shockwaves straight through the Aces organization. A'ja Wilson had dominated headlines for years. Yet, here was a phenom rewiring sports media economics in real time. Caitlin proved beyond any debate that she operates as the undisputed face of modern women's basketball. When she steps onto the floor, casual audiences turn into rabid viewers. That kind of unprecedented cultural pull creates immense pressure on traditional award voters who value overall impact, win and Aces loss.
Win and Aces loss. Caitlin Clark is averaging 22 points, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds, and the Fever are officially the 3 seed at 24 and 12. Caitlin Clark taking over this MVP race. I think this is an accurate update of the standings here. Okay, Caitlin Clark number 1, A'ja Wilson number 2, Olivia Miles at number 3, and then you got Kelsey Mitchell and Breanna Stewart down there. Paige Bueckers is no longer a part of this conversation. The Dallas Wings have lost 8 of their last 11 games. They're stinking it up. Now, when it comes to this Caitlin Clark, Olivia Miles comparison, take a look at this here. They both were play. The seismic rating spike collided directly with a massive shift on the league hardwood. While Las Vegas began to show glaring cracks and drop crucial games, the Indiana Fever went on an absolute tear. Indiana pulled off a statement win, while the Aces suffered a brutal defeat, vaulting the Fever to a commanding 24-12 record. Suddenly, Indiana secured the number 3 seed in the entire league standings, officially overtaking Las Vegas and rewriting the postseason picture. Heavily at TCU, but there is a difference. there's a major, major difference. And I want to show you this here. Take a look. The last 12 games in terms of offense, Caitlin Clark is creating 46 points per game, and it's not even close. Okay, 313 points, 110 assists, 41 rebounds for Caitlin Clark, 319 points, 40 assists, and 114 rebounds for A'ja Wilson. Olivia Miles, 250 points, 83 assists, 54 rebounds. Olivia Miles is not in the same ballpark as Caitlin Clark or A'ja Wilson. We're going to keep it real. And then you got Paige Beckers down there at 242, 63 assists.
That precise standings flip completely eviscerated the strongest argument in Wilson's campaign. For months, analysts claimed A'ja deserved the award because top-tier talent must translate directly to team dominance. But with the Fever standing taller than the Aces in the win column, the goalpost suddenly moved. Clark was not merely putting up gaudy rookie figures on a lottery squad. She was actively steering her franchise ahead of the reigning world champions in the standings.
At that podium praising Caitlin Clark, and if I had a vote, I would vote for her because nobody touches the ball more than her. The offense goes through her. I saw a stat that was remarkable in WNBA history. She creates either with her assists or with her scoring 40.5 points. 40.5 points is the average of an Indiana Fever game. That's how much she impacts the game. 4 straight player of the week. Her and Kelsey Mitchell, the best tandem in the WNBA. I would put Kelsey Mitchell, if it's not Caitlin Clark. I don't know why Kelsey Mitchell isn't right there also with some candidates for MVP. But
the raw box score totals highlight a statistical dominance that left analysts speechless. Over this defining stretch, Clark averaged a blistering 22 points, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds. Every time she laced up her sneakers, she orchestrated Indiana's offense with ruthless efficiency, breaking down elite defensive schemes night after night. Voters could no longer hide behind traditional veteran seniority when the box scores told an undeniable story of court supremacy.
Of course, we know what she does. She's a machine. The stats are remarkable. She leads in scoring average and rebounding average and all of that. We get that. She's a dominant player. She's one of the all-time greats. But there's valuable in there. It's not most stats, per player. It's most valuable player. And I know Jason and Caroline, we have this conversation all the time. We do this in other sports, don't we too? The meaning of valuable, the meaning of production.
And also, winning plays a part. Winning plays a part. Now that Caitlin Clark has surpassed
Consider the updated hierarchy of the most coveted individual trophy in professional basketball. Clark stands alone at the undisputed number 1 spot on the official tracker. A'ja Wilson finds herself pushed down to number 2, scrambling to regain lost ground. Meanwhile, rising star Olivia Miles sits at number 3, with veteran titans like Breanna Stewart trailing far behind. The established superstar hierarchy has been turned completely upside down in a matter of weeks.
Do you think that she would have collected throughout her entire career?
You know what, Caroline? I don't care how many. I'm actually not a big person with individual awards. I can't stand them. You do that with NFL. I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers. 1 Super Bowl win. He's got 4 or 5 MVP awards. Great. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. To me, it's winning when it matters most. Yeah, I know right now. If you would say to me, how many championships do you think Caitlin Clark is going to win? Well, that's a different conversation before she retires. I think at least 2. Multiple championships.
multiple championships, multiple finals MVP.
Other early season hopefuls completely collapsed as the pressure intensified across the league. Paige Bueckers saw her MVP buzz vanish into thin air after the Dallas Wings went ice cold, dropping 8 of their last 11 contests. Dallas tumbled all the way down to the 8th seed, proving that individual brilliance without victories cannot survive in an elite race. Bueckers was officially erased from the ballot, leaving Clark alone to battle the frontcourt giants. A deeper look at the competition exposes an undeniable gulf between Caitlin and other rising sensations. Media commentators frequently tried to elevate Olivia Miles into the same stratosphere, especially after both secured Player of the Week honors. But when you place their production side by side, the contrast is stark. Clark dropped 26 points and 10 assists on 51% shooting, while Miles logged 18 points, 8 assists, and 5 boards. The reality on the floor proved there are distinct levels to professional stardom. While Miles orchestrated strong performances for the top-seeded squad, her individual production simply could not match Caitlin's staggering playmaking gravity. Miles generated 250 points, 83 assists, and 54 rebounds across a pivotal 12-game sample. Respectable metrics for any high-caliber athlete, but nowhere near enough to dethrone Clark or Wilson from the top tier. Then came the mind-boggling metric that made sports analysts do a double take. Over her last 12 games, Caitlin Clark single-handedly generated an outrageous 46 points per game through her own buckets and scoring assists. She poured in 313 total points, dished out 110 assists, and grabbed 41 rebounds. No guard in modern history has controlled that volume of team offense with such devastating precision, putting Aya's traditional production on notice. Compare those numbers to Wilson's legendary production over that exact same 12-game window. Aya delivered monster frontcourt numbers with 319 points and 114 rebounds, but distributed only 40 assists. While Wilson remains an unstoppable force in the paint, Caitlin's dual-threat scoring and floor vision touched almost every single possession. Clark was not just scoring the ball. She was orchestrating an entire offensive machine that outscored everyone else. Renowned sports broadcaster Linda Cohen took to national airwaves on Yahoo Sports to validate the shift. Cohen openly declared that if she held an official ballot, Caitlin Clark would receive her first-place vote without hesitation. Cohen emphasized that absolutely nobody touches the basketball more or dictates the flow of competition like Clark. When an elite point guard commands the floor for 40 minutes, the sheer gravity of her presence alters every defensive coverage. Cohen pointed out a historical metric that underscores the sheer weight of Clark's contributions. Across full games, Caitlin directly accounts for 40.5 total points between her made baskets and pinpoint passes. That represents nearly half of Indiana's entire offensive output on any given evening. Capturing 4 consecutive Player of the Week awards was not a media creation. It was the statistical byproduct of an offensive engine operating at maximum efficiency. The chemistry between Clark and Kelsey Mitchell has transformed them into the most dangerous backcourt tandem in the league. Mitchell has played at such an electrifying level that analysts argue she deserves top-tier MVP votes of her own. Together, they form an unstoppable offensive combination that stretches defenses past the breaking point. Yet, even alongside another scoring phenom, Caitlin remains the primary catalyst who makes the entire engine purr. This entire debate forces the basketball universe to confront the true definition of value. Wilson puts up historic scoring averages and cleans the glass like a dominant machine. Nobody denies that Aya stands as one of the greatest talents to ever lace up sneakers. But the award is titled Most Valuable Player, not the player with the highest isolated efficiency stats in a vacuum. True value is measured by transformative team impact. History proves that team success is always the ultimate decider in MVP voting. Last season, if Las Vegas had not orchestrated an incredible late-season winning streak into the playoffs, Aya never would have edged out Nneka Collier for the award. Collier battled through injury while Vegas surged at the finish line, handing Wilson the hardware. Now, the exact same standard is working directly in Caitlin Clark's favor as Indiana surmounts the Aces. The irony has not been lost on veteran league observers who track historical award precedents. The very criteria that previously elevated Aya Wilson over her peers is now cementing Clark's case at the top of the ballot. You cannot shift the philosophical definition of value just because an explosive young guard is winning the race. The Fever climbed the mountain, passed the champions, and proved they belong among the league's true elite. Every single autumn, sports media figures open up the dictionary to manufacture new meanings for the word value. But Clark's intrinsic value goes far beyond box scores and advanced tracking charts. She has elevated an entire franchise from the basement to a legitimate contender while driving unprecedented revenue and television eyes to the sport. Her value encompasses both the 4 lines on the court and the overall landscape of the game. When analysts debated how many MVP trophies Caitlyn would accumulate before hanging up her sneakers, the dialogue shifted toward ultimate legacy. Some critics, like NFL icon Aaron Rodgers, amassed numerous regular season trophies while struggling to collect multiple rings. But true greatness demands converting regular season supremacy into hardware when the lights shine brightest. Caitlyn's current dominance suggests she is chasing something much larger than single-season accolades. Insiders openly predict multiple championships and finals MVP awards in Clark's immediate future. The relentless drive she exhibits on a nightly basis matches the championship pedigree of history's greatest floor generals. Surpassing Aya Wilson in the regular season standings was simply the opening salvo of a long-term takeover. The standard of excellence in professional basketball has officially been raised to unprecedented heights. The math is simple as the regular season approaches its dramatic conclusion. If the Indiana Fever maintain their momentum and finish cleanly ahead of the Las Vegas Aces in the standings, the debate is officially over. Dust off the MVP trophy and carve Caitlyn Clark's name directly into the medal. The combination of elite scoring creation, historic television ratings, and winning execution makes her case entirely bulletproof. We are witnessing a monumental changing of the guard in real time. Aya Wilson remains an all-time titan. But Caitlyn Clark has disrupted the hierarchy and proven that sheer value cannot be ignored. When you rewrite broadcast records and lead a surging franchise past the reigning champs, history demands recognition. The MVP race was supposed to be a foregone conclusion, but Caitlyn Clark turned it into an undeniable personal coronation.